What did we learn from opening day at Leafs training camp? Who's healthy, who isn't, and who believes they're due for a big bounce back season? Our takeaways from day one coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morisuti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. What's happening, Dave? How we feeling?
Man, the bonanza's back.
Yeah. The boys are back. The bonanza's back. Day one of training camp in the books. And the on-ice stuff will start later today, which we're pretty excited to see kind of what things look like. Who gets that first go-around on a top line with Austin Matthews? Doesn't sound like it's going to be Max Domi, who kind of apparently one of the updates we got from Media Day today from Brad Treliving was that he'll be day-to-day with a lower body injury to start camp, so won't be full go. So that opens up a spot for someone to take advantage on that top line. Thought he might have been the go-to guy on day one. Doesn't seem like Domi's going to be prepared and will be on the ice for the start of camp. So we'll talk about that and so much more of what went down at Leafs camp on Wednesday. Everyone was in the building, got a chance to speak to the coach, the GM, both Treliving and Berube spoke. You got to speak to the leadership core as Matthews, Tavares, and Morgan Riley. All three of those guys spoke as well. So we'll kind of break down our takeaways from what they all had to say on today's show. What was, I guess, the biggest kind of standout comment that was made today that we should start with, Dave? Where do we start?
Well, I think you kind of have to start with them eventually saying, all right, guys, we got to move on. We got to move on from Mitch Marner. That chapter is closed. We're moving on. Let's let everybody else move on now.
Yeah, which is fair. Like, I think to an extent, I still believe that everyone's always going to look back and, wonder what would it look like if they would have figured it out with Mitch, right? Especially if it goes bad. If it goes well, then I think that conversation will die very quickly. But if things get rocky at some point throughout the season and the penalty kills not getting it done and Matthews isn't scoring goals and, it doesn't seem like this team has, enough skill to win games, I could see that conversation creeping up. But if not, then yes, I think it will go to the wayside if they can win games without him. It was funny because Craig Berube said, what's so different about this year? And he said, well, I'm happy that we won't get to hear about the core four anymore because the core four does not exist with Mitch Marner departing Toronto. But is that combo dead, Dave? Like, is the core four dead completely? Or is it just like someone else going to take on that spot and the Leafs and Leaf fandom will still look at, 3 or 4 guys who are going to have to lead the charge here for Toronto? Because I don't think it's dead. Like, I almost feel like Nyes will just get thrown into a new, take that spot as like a core 4 member.
Yeah, I just think like the whole idea of having 4 guys making 10+ million. But I think that's probably where the whole idea of the core 4.
Well, Nylander wasn't making that at one point. Like, Nylander was only making but
the core 4 was brought in with Berube. Like, that was kind of the
core 4's been around forever. They tried to get rid of it when Berube got there.
Like, that's where it was at its height. Like,
shots. It's been core 4 for the last 6 years. It was core 4 in the Babcock era.
But we never really talked about it all the time as the core 4. We said
absolutely we did. What are you talking about?
Okay, like I think here's the thing. Like, we talked about having the guys being signed, right? We can and we will. That's kind of where that first idea of having a bunch of guys signed to big ticket contracts. But it wasn't to the degree that it was when Nylander signed, and you have all 4 guys making 10+ million. That's where I feel like it got a little bit blown.
No, I'm in a dud. We'll agree to disagree. Core 4 has been a thing for when Brad Treliving took the job on day 1. That was before Nylander signed. He said, "I hate the Core 4 talk. You guys got to stop with the Core 4 talk and
So
get
maybe
rid
that's
of it."
where it was.
Nylander was making $6 million at that point.
So then Core 4 would have been more of a 2023, because that's when he came, when Treliving came in. Right?
Yeah, but he said it needs to stop because it was pre that it was being talked about. Anyways, this is besides the point.
Yeah.
Complete semantics argument. The point is, I still don't think that conversation is dead. Like, I think someone just takes over, and there's still going to be conversations about there being 3-4 guys who are going to have to lead the charge. I still think that is going to be part of the conversation. So I don't think Core 4 is dead. I think that conversation will still be very much alive, and I don't think that people are going to stop talking about Mitch Marner either. But still, I think that it would be best if the Leafs come out and move on. I don't think the fan base is going to, but the Leafs have to. The team has to, because he's not there and he's not walking through the door. And they're gonna have to, do best with what they have. Now, we've both talked about this a lot throughout the summer, that they've done a pretty good job filling that role, not necessarily Marner specifically, but they've built out the depth. And Treliving even said, like, yeah, Marner's gone. That's 100 points to fill. But we feel like the 3 guys that we brought in to replace that could make up for those 100 points collectively. And that's what they're going to try and do. It's going to have to be collective. It's going to have to be the whole team. Matthews maybe get back to his 60-goal season. Matthew Nyes take a step forward. Maybe Nicky Bobby figures it out. Bobby McMahon gets a little bit more consistency within his game. I think the team feels like they are prepared with what they've done. Feels like it's going to be different for sure. Will it be better? Remains to be seen.
I will apologize. Yes, I am finding references back in 2019. So you were.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It only started last 2 years. I'm like, that happened like when Tavares signed his deal.
Yeah, I think it was more so 2020 is likely where
it was when all 3 of them signed, and then all 4 players were under contract. But anyways.
But yeah, I do think, look, when you think about championship teams, it went from having the dynamic duo to then you're having like you need to have an established core, but it's not. I guess what they're trying to say is not. It doesn't take 4 players to win. It takes
a team,
an entire team. It takes a 23-man roster. It takes all 20 guys that are going to be on the ice each and every night. I think that's trying. That's what Brad Treliving has been trying to change ever since he arrived in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
He's been trying to make it less about. Well, you're not going to make it less about the star players, but he is trying to put the onus on more than just the star players.
Yes,
to do it. And boy, we found out that he put the onus on quite a few people